Hi, welcome to Box on the Box Rock and Celluloid, Bok Brak for short. I'm Over Box. I'm going to be picking my top 10 film noirs today. If you want to find out about the stylistic elements of film noir, go on Wikipedia, they'll explain it far better than me. There's numerous things written about this genre, but anyway, it involves German expressionism and pre-film noir elements from the 1930s. I think the first film noir film is generally said to be about 1940, and the last one 1958. Obviously, there's quite a lot of film noirs out there, and some good ones to check out. Things like Detour, Laura, The Big Knife, The Big Combo. There's loads. But I'll give you my 10. So, the 10th choice is the 1946 version of Hemingway's The Killers. So this stars a star-making role for Burt Lancaster, directed by Robert Siodmak, Ava Gardner. This is great. Basically, Lancaster's character is hiding out. I think he works children's school caretaker, something like that. A couple of hitmen turn up to kill him, and he doesn't put up a fight, and then they decide to investigate why is that. There's a really good remake of this from 1964, which is a great neo-noir, which is actually done for TV, directed by Don Siegel. Starring Lee Marvin, Ronald Reagan in his last film role. Well worth checking out. I'd probably actually say I prefer the Don Siegel version, but there's two great versions of this film. Next up, I'm going for The Big Heat. The great Fritz Lang. This is one of the most kind of edgy film noirs. Glenn Ford plays a cop. Not one of my favourite actors, but this is really known for the scene where Lee Marvin's mobster throws a pot of hot coffee over Gloria Graham's moll, as it were. Gloria Graham won the Oscar for Bad and Beautiful in 1952-53. But sort of forgotten about now. There's a good film about her, actually. Film stars down Liverpool, which is with Annette Bening, which is well worth checking out. But this scene's shocking then, and it's even more shocking now in a way. This is like a classic. My next choice is really getting, it's 1955, this one, so it's getting to that stage where you're kind of getting where the genre's getting more kind of spread out, so to speak, and you're getting more into the territory where things will become neo-noir. This is Night of the Hunter. It's the only film directed by the actor Charles Lawton, and it stars Robert Mitchum in his best ever role. This is an incredible film. It's really haunting. It's kind of got elements of horror. It's got elements of a Brothers Grimm fairy tale. Cast Lillian Gish as well as the kind of grandmother. Really chilling. I don't know why Lawton didn't direct another film. It flopped. Maybe that put him off. But we're left with one great film. Like I say, it's not a typical film noir. Next one I'm picking would make a lot of great best films made list. And in some ways, again, it's kind of bigger than the genre of film noir because it's so classic. But the cinematography on this and the use of Dutch tilts by cinematographer Robert Krasker makes it an essential noir, and it's The Third Man, a 1949 Carol Reed's classic. Obviously with this, what the main theme of this is, it's after the war. Vienna split up into 4 quarters run by different countries. It's about that uncertainty that the post-war era brings, and that's one of the key things of film noir. Joseph Cotton's character, he goes to Vienna to see his mate. He hears he's died. Obviously, he thinks his mate's a stand-up guy. He's not. He's Harry Lime. He's still alive. He's been selling dodgy penicillin that's resulted in the deaths of children. There's that great moment where Wells appears, obviously, in the doorway. Brilliant lighting. Cuckoo clock speech, but again, it's just really capturing, it's the way those nighttime scenes of Vienna city streets are shot that make this such a classic. I mean, there's the music and so on. Next one I'm going for is I think it's 1955. It's Kiss Me Deadly. Robert Aldridge, really underrated director. I think this is one of the most gritty, hard-boiled of all the film noirs. It stars Ralph Meeker as Meeker Spillane's Mike Hammer. Not an actor who typically got leading roles. He's really good in this. He's got a great opening, Close Leachman's character running down the road at night. I think she stumbles across Hammer's character. There's a horrible bit later on where she's tortured. Doesn't leave a lot to imagination. Really hardcore scene for the time. It also makes use of like the MacGuffin in the suitcase, which lights up at the end when everything blows up. It's some kind of nuclear material. Obviously Tarantino copies this or references this in Pulp Fiction, just on some water. One of the interesting things with this film is a lot of it's shot on location, obviously, and that's one of the great things about film noir. It takes a leaf from German Expressionism, of its lighting and style, but also Italian neorealism for getting out there on the streets, so to speak. And this is one of those, the camera's kind of attached to the boot of the car, so when it reverses out and it goes along, it's just got that weird perspective, and that's the first time I think I'd seen that. Great film. Next one up is 1947's Out of the Past, called Bill Mike Gallows High in this country. Robert Mitchum, Kirk Douglas and Jane Greer. This is like one of the top femme fatale roles. Jane Greer, probably not as well known an actress, but she's great in this. This is a classic kind of schmuck, the film noir, one of the staples is the male character is lured in by the femme fatale. Interesting, she has dark hair in this, and the past comes back for him, so to speak, and he it's that thing, that classic thing where you just can't hide, you can't escape your past. Like the Lancaster character in The Killers, really good. Mitchum's great. Obviously, Kirk Douglas, quite interesting is Kirk Douglas. This before he's kind of Kirk Douglas. I think Champion makes him a star. So he's not a typical kind of Kirk Douglas character. Well worth checking out. Should just say there's an interesting film noir, if you've not seen, called Leader to Heaven, I think, which big Scorsese's a big fan of, and it's a film noir in colour. Stars Gene Tierney. And Cornel Wilde, and the photography is amazing on it, and it's just weird, this idea you can have film noir themes but in colour. It's kind of bizarre. Forget the director, it's quite obscure, but check that out. Okay, my next three is one of the greats. I love this film. I think when he made this, he was attempting just to make an entertaining film to get a hit. I think it did quite well. Because he'd had trouble. It was Orson Welles is the stranger. Wells plays a Nazi hiding out in a New England town. Someone blackmails him, he kills him. Edward G. Robinson, the great man, comes in to investigate. This is great. Wells is really good. He's really shifty and edgy, and there's a great bit where he gives a game away. He's at a dinner party and discussing Marx, and he goes, everyone knows Marx was a Jew, and that shows his anti-Semitism, the fact that he would pick that out as the most defining factor of Marx. Really good. Thinking about this, Shadow of a Doubt is kind of similar, the Hitchcock one, where you've got the guy kind of in the small town who's evil, Joseph Cotton. I would have picked that as kind of probably Hitchcock's only kind of film noir in a way, but obviously that's been in my kind of top Hitchcock films, so check that out, by his top 10 directorial films. Next up, I'm going for Orson Welles again, is Lady from Shanghai. Again, he's starting to almost distill the elements of film noir in this. He's seeing the beginnings of what will become kind of neo-noir, in the sense that the ideas of film noir are kind of going to get spread out and, reach beyond standard conventions. He's got the hapless schmuck character, he's the Irish sailor, but the thing here is you cast Rita Hayworth, who's his then wife. Rita Hayworth's redhead, not a natural redhead, she was actually dark-haired, That was to hide Hispanic heritage, I think. But he dyes her platinum blonde. She's got short hair, so she doesn't look like she usually does. It's got a Hall of Mirrors climax, using the mirrors, the duality thing. Mirrors are quite important in film noir, but he kind of, extends that idea. And then there's a great bit on a boat where he breaks continuity lines, the sort of Hollywood classical cinema, the reverse shot. And he breaks the continuity lines on that. Just very stylish. The opening as well, I think when he first meets her, he's got a horse-drawn cab. But the way he does the shot on that, I forget exactly what he does, but it's an impressive technical feature with Shakespeare. It kind of wrong foots us. So this is, there's quite a lot of style over substance in this in some ways, and that's the joy of it. It's great. Which brings me to number 2, which is Wells' 1958 Touch of Evil. So this is the last film noir. Basically what happens in 1959, the French New Wave appears, a film like Abu de Soffel, Breathless, has elements of the gangster film, noir types. Later on, Jean-Luc Godard will pastiche film noir, and so on. So, not pastiche, but, bringing elements. So this is seen as the last of the era. This is a great film. The cinematography is fantastic. At this point in his life, Wells is starting to get very big, and he's shot with low angles. He kind of looms in the frame. He plays the corrupt Mexican border cop, Hank Quinlan. And there's a great bit of Marlene Dietrich in this film, where he goes to get, I don't know if he gets his fortune read or she's a fortune teller, but she says, your future's all used up, which is just such a brilliant line. There's also a great bit where he goes in a lift and it's handheld camera shot, very heavy cameras, and again predating what's going to happen the next year when a Nouvelle Vague comes in. And also the main reason we've got to have this not in here, but one of the classic things about this film is its opening unbroken take tracking shot, 3 minutes long. Hitchcock directors had experimented with long takes, but typically fairly static cameras. And then Hitchcock did Rope, which is just one long take, 10-minute takes. But with, not pedestrian moves, but nothing massively complicated. You're not seeing Rope. It's really worth seeing. It's just a really good film anyway. But this has got that fantastic open tracking shot where he does a Hitchcocking thing. We see the bomb under the car and we follow it over the border. Presumably Russell Metty, the cinematographer, and his team of operators were probably on some kind of truck following it. And it only cuts when the explosion goes off. There's been longer takes in film history, but I still think this is kind of the defining one. It's still the daddy of all long takes. Like I said, there's more complicated ones, there's longer ones, but without Touch of Evil, we wouldn't have that notion of the revert long take in cinema. Okay, so my number 1 choice wasn't hard for me. I think the key thing in this film is it's brilliantly written, it's brilliantly cast. And it's that thing where it's cast for the parts, not the stars as such. It's really entertaining, and it's probably the first great film by a great filmmaker who's not considered an auteur, but he is one of the greats in this, Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity. The casting in this, Fred MacMurray, not the typical person you think of to cast as the male lead in a film such as this, but what's really brilliant about this is he's a kind of average guy, and it's like, why would someone as glamorous as Barbara Stanwyck's character be interested in him? And that's where he gets hoodwinked. He becomes the schmuck, so to speak. Barbara Stanwyck's amazing. Barbara Stanwyck, very big star in the 40s, early 50s. Doesn't quite have the reputation as of other female stars at that time, but she had 4 Oscar nominations. She won an Oscar. She's brilliant in this. There's that great scene when he first meets her. She's at the top of the stairs, and she's not, she's clothed, but she's in a robe suggestively. And of course, Edward G. Robinson, just absolutely brilliant as Walter Neff, the Fred MacMurray character's mate at the insurance investigators. And it's using that thing of insurance, life insurance as well, which is kind of not something we're familiar with in the UK as much, certainly at that time, and absolutely brilliant. So check it out. That's my number one choice. Those are my top 10 film noirs. I'll see you soon for neo noirs. Thank you.